both those.
Welcome, leaders. If you're watching this video, you are a Taste of Mission Sunday leader, and we are preparing an instructional video for you, a resource to help your leadership on Sunday morning with Taste of Mission Sunday using our Prepare Event Debrief model. So make sure that you have, this should have come in an email, the Prepare Event Debrief form, and that'll help you as you're following along with the different points that we're giving you, and this video is really supplementing that material there. So what I want to do is go down through the list of Prepare Event Debrief, and Greg's going to interrupt with his brilliant nuances of each of my points. So make sure you're listening attentively, and you'll be amazed, I'm sure. So first of all, prepare. This is a pretty intuitive thing for most of you as leaders, that to prepare your people is really important. So on Sunday morning, we will be getting together at 8:30, and once you're released around the 9:20, 9:30 time frame, you're going to want to make sure that you prepare your people. So if that happens at CCS, that's really your discretion, or if that happens at your ministry site, that's fine too. The point being is preparation for what's going to be happening needs to happen before the event actually takes place itself, and really that'll just set your whole project up for success. So yeah, let me go down through this list here, and feel free to interject at any point.
Just the debrief one also.
Yeah.
That's going to be, they would do that at the end of
Good.
the end of their event.
Right.
And with the prepare and the debrief one, the closer you can get to timely preparation and timely debriefing, the better.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
Your preparation, I would get it as close to when you're doing the event. The debrief, the same thing, as close to when the event ends. So if that's on the actual site, that's even better.
Good.
Because then people are there, everything's fresh, and then they're kind of processing their experience with you. So I would do them as close to the event as possible.
Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense in terms of as you think through the flow of your day, as a leader of when you're actually putting these things into practice for your success as a leader and for our success as a church. So, all right, to the form here, under prepare, we have define the task, give vision for it, not just task but relational. So this is an important one. Really what we're saying there is it's not just a task that we're doing. There's a relational component. We don't want to miss what God's doing relationally. That's the whole part of the gospel. Secondly is to define what a win is for your people. This is a really big deal whenever you're talking about knowing what it is that you're doing, but also how do you know if you're doing what you're doing well. So what does a win look like? What is the goal that you're trying to achieve? And that goal is met, is going to need definition.
So that goes in with the one above it, because if it's not just a task, right? So there's also relational goals that we would have. So both of those would need wins related to them. So the task would be about, like, do your job well. Let's do this with excellence. Let's serve people with quality. That would represent our God well, and It would be loving to them. But the other thing you want to keep in mind is it's not just about a task. There's also we want to build bridges of relationship. We want people to be seen and known as real people, not just projects. So you want to have a couple of wins related to, loving, connecting with people as well. Even with things that would be impersonal, like if you're putting a box together, a win would be like to think about the people that are going to be getting this box, and maybe pray, over those boxes, or leave a little note, things like that. That even if the task is separated from people, there's still a way to think through how does this connect with individuals.
Yeah. So bringing definition to that will bring greater success to your people. Along with that, defining any expectations. So what will you be looking for in your people? And this gets into the specifics of if you expect people to, let's say you're doing visitation, to regroup at a certain time, or if you have an expectation that there would be a certain way that you're presenting yourself, make that clear. Bring that
Yeah.
those expectations to your people. Really, that goes along with defining the task and defining the win. But those expectations are going to be important that people know ahead of time, so that they're clear on what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, attitude and action. What are you
Good.
looking for from them?
That's right. You heard. See, brilliance, attitude, and action.
Yep,
Nice
and alliteration.
That's a great alliteration. I mean, there's 3 A's right there. The next one is give any necessary consequences, especially if there are children. Greg, just describe this one a little bit in terms of certainly thinking through children, but also how does this even play out with teens and adults?
So we are part of your responsibility as a team leader is you're going to be mobilizing a large group of people. So as you're mobilizing them, you're casting vision for what they're going to be doing, giving them expectations, but you also need to say if you can't operate within those expectations, then there's going to be consequences for that. And the simple consequence, the most extreme one would be they would have to be asked to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you're doing that is because you want to protect, what God is doing in the people that you have, as well as in the mission. And hopefully you're not going to get to that point, but I think it's good to set that out ahead of time. And then if there's children involved, then your expectations would be, some removal from the activity, maybe not as extreme as asked to go home, but removal from whatever the privilege of serving is. So you just want to think ahead. So you're anticipating you're going to be in this environment. It's not going to be the same as your home environment. It's not going to be the same as the church environment. It's going to be, you're going to have some clear expectations, and they'll be very important to abide by those. So you really raise the value of that, and hopefully this isn't an issue, but you want to think it through ahead of time.
I think that could be a little bit confusing for some people. To put you on the spot, like let's say that I'm part of the Chainsaws for Christ, right? And I mean, how would you on the front end create a consequence that would not seem overly authoritative, but it would be helpful for people to know ahead of time?
Well, I think it comes down to like serving in attitude and action, and basically by saying this is what you're doing. So you're thinking through the consequences. I don't know that you need to like walk through and say this is what will happen to you.
Okay.
But just by simply laying out this is the expectation, then if there was a problem in moving through it, then I think you can bring, hey, this was the expectation. Remember, we agreed on that one, and then then you would have to bring the consequences. Right. So I don't think you need to. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't want to set up that your expectation is that they would fail. We actually the opposite. The whole idea of preparation is to. Okay. But you should think through those consequences.
Good. That's helpful. The last two, number 6 and 7, go together. What is the chain of command? Knowing what that is for you as a leader, and likewise allowing for questions. These two go together. The chain of command really has to do with when someone has a question, who do they go to, right? So if you, as a Taste of Mission leader, have a question, you probably be coming to me, perhaps to Greg, perhaps to Jessica LeBlanc, but you would know who do you have to go to get the questions that you have answered. You want your people to know that as well. So if it's a homeowner that you're working with, you may not have the chain of command where you want every person talking to that homeowner, but you want them to come to you, and then you can ask that homeowner. So just bring specific clarity of who do they go to when they have questions or difficulties. So troubleshooting as well. That certainly goes along. So anything else you would add to prepare?
No, I think the thing I'd want to emphasize is that your preparation is designed to make your team successful in what you're leading them into. So whatever relevant information they need to know, I think is essential that you give it to them in a timely manner. So.
Great.